Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today it's time for April's mission inspiration. So let me turn over to my overhead camera, I'll show you the mission brief and then I'll go through my project for the month. Just get my chair comfortable. There we go. Excuse the squeak. It still needs tightening up. I haven't got around to doing it just yet. Okay, so this is the brief for April 2022. So monochromatic. Create your project using only one colour family. You may lighten and darken with white and black. So you can create tones and shades. Tones with white, shades with black. So one colour family normally means kind of like reds. So reds will cover like reds and pinks. Blues, you could go from light blue right the way through to like midnight blue, and maybe even just get away with a little bit of squeezing in a little bit of green towards there as well. Purples will incorporate both blues and reds, because purple is made up of both blue and red, so you could get quite a variation there if you wanted to. And also oranges, you may have noticed. Oranges can go from yellowy right the way through to kind of like ambery honey colours, all the way through to like deep browns, because that's just the way that oranges work. So for me, because orange is made up of yellows and reds, I'm going to go into that kind of orangey, kind of corally, peachy kind of tone. And then I will lighten up or darken up with white and black. I've run out of white acrylic paint. I've run out of Dina Wakley. I've run out of Americana. I really ought to buy some more. I just need to get myself to the shop. But until I can do that, I'm going to be using white gesso. So my colours that I've pulled from my collection are these ones. So these are all kind of like variations on orange. But again, I can still get different variations with each one by adding white or black. So that's where we're going to go. So I'll put this to one side. That can go back in the box with all the others. So that's all the used missions, so they can go back in there. And this is my, let me just zoom out a little bit. Just a tad, there we go, so you can see the page. So this is the Mission Inspiration book for 2022. And I've already cut out a sheet of watercolour cardstock. So this is from Dale Rowney. So this is £169 or 250 GSM, as you can see, and it's multimedia paper. Mixed media, multimedia, not multimedia, mixed media. Multimedia is something altogether. That's like video and audio and that kind of thing, isn't it? We're not doing that. That's a different video altogether. No, mixed media. So this is like watercolour cardstock, but it's also good for acrylic paint and ink and stamping and all that kind of stuff that you want to do. So I've cut it out using, this is one of the journals, the journal template kits, which are currently out of stock, but I will be getting some more in next week, next time I nip down to the laser cutter and get some more done. But these are just the covers without the spine, without any of the decoration, the hinges, and I've just got book rings on them. So these are the Medite ones. Another use for them, there you go, decorated rather lovely. So this is what I'm going to be working on. So let me just put the covers to one side. So you've seen the paint. So what else I've pulled from my collection is one of the new stencils. So let me just grab something just a bit darker so you can see this. Right, I've already released this stencil as a 6x6. This is the new 5.5 by 8 version, which just also happens to be the same size as the pages from the journals. Yes, it is deliberate. So that's the new Confusion 5.5 by 8, which is new on the website today, but also people wanted to know when the other stencil was being released, which is the cellular one, that one. He says, just running back to his desk quickly. That's the cellular one. That's also now available to purchase on the new website. So if you go to MikeDeakinArt.com there's a brand new website to explore there, but you can also now get to it at mikedeakin.uk, because I'm based in the UK, obviously. But you can still get to it via .com, but you can also get to it by clicking .uk as well. So mikedeakin.uk. So you can get to it on both. So the cellular stencil is also available to purchase now, because people were asking to be let known when that was going to be released. It's released now, so there you go. But today I'm going to be using the Confusion stencil, I think, and I'm also going to be using this fantastic stamp set from IndigoBlu. So this is called Cinnamon Swirls. It's A6-ish in size, or A2 in size if you like. That's the size of the cardish. A2 being, I think, the US kind of size, but A6 here in the UK and Europe. And as you can see, they're deeply etched red rubber stamps. If I can get hold of stock for these, I will have these on the website by the time this video goes live. So if they're on the website, in the stamps, the rubber stamp section, you know I've got stock. If they're not there, it means I will be getting them soon. I just need to talk to IndigoBlu to get some stock. But yeah, so if you're wanting those, hopefully, like I said, I'll be able to get them on the website in time for this. So that's kind of going to be it. Now I do have a focal image. Because we're doing monochrome, and we're using black and white as well, then I thought using a black and white photograph as kind of my focal point for is going to be this one. So this is a photograph or an image of I'll say, Italianate statue. I don't believe it's any earlier than kind of like the Renaissance period. I'm not really sure where it came from. This is one I've just had in my stash for absolutely ages and ages and ages. It's not a black and white photo that I've got. I've just made it black and white for the purpose of this and just printed it out on some printer paper, just ordinary printer paper. And my idea is I'm going to cut this out, just leaving a really thin kind of black border, almost like a stroke border, all the way around, just to kind of differentiate it from the white background. But also I am going to add an overall colour, so I do want something just to add a little bit of pop and a little bit of colour against, or almost like a line if you like, all the way around. So let me just fast forward through cutting this out, because you know, ain't nobody got time to watch somebody fussy cutting, and I'll join with you in a second. Okay, so just throws that piece of paper on the floor. This is going to be kind of the focal point for the page. But what I want to do first is I want to just add some colour down onto that page. So I'm going to take two of the colours. So we'll go in with coral and bright salmon, which are kind of those lovely kind of orangey colours. And I'm going to just put some on the desktop just there, just to give them a shake, just to make sure that the binder hasn't separated, as it sometimes does with these paints, with any paints really. And then I'm just going to grab a paintbrush, add a little bit of water to it, and I'm not gessoing. I'm not going to gesso first. So I'm going to take some of the dark paint, I'm going to take the other side and pick up some of the light. So I've kind of got a two-tone. And I'm going to just go up and down the page. So dark, light. And it kind of gives you a non kind of like matte effect. You don't, when I say matte, I mean you don't get a monotone effect. You actually get a multicoloured kind of effect by using half and half on your brush. And you can just flip it over and just blend a little bit more. And I'm not going all the way to the edge of the page, to the top anyway. I will go let's see, should we go, let's go a little bit lighter on the edge there. And then just go back in with a touch of the dark. Okay. That's going to be the base for my art journal page. So I'll clean this up, dry this off, and I'll be right back. Okay, they're still there. I decided not to clean up. I'm going to actually do something else first. Right, I've got just some plain white stamping card here. They're the cinnamon swirl stamps, which we talked about a second ago. So I'm going to grab my skinny minis. I want the middle one. So I'll just flip that over, and then I can take off the middle sized one. So these are the new flexible skinny minis, which again are ergonomically cut, ergonomically shaped, and so light and flexible and versatile you can just throw them in your craft bag and not worry about them. And I'm going to just put one of those cinnamon swirls onto my stamp block, ink it up. Now, this is the first time I've used these stamps, so I just need to kind of condition it first. And I'm just going to do a quick stamp in the corner. There we go. Perfect impression, but because I've just conditioned it there, it's now got that little inky coating. So it's always a good idea just to use your stamps and do some test kind of stamping before you do your main stamping, as in for your main project, because stamps like this normally do need conditioning. So I'm going to do 3 of those, because 3s. And like I said, excuse the squeaky chair. Like I said, one of these days I will get round to tightening it up. And then I'm going to do another 3 of the smaller one. And again, I'm just going to do a quick one down there just as a condition. And then I can do 3 of these. There we go. It's because I'm rushing. I'm trying to obviously get through the video, not as quickly as possible, but as efficiently as possible, if you like. Right. Yeah, so because they've got those like points there, you can hold your stamp down, or you can do it that way. It just gives you a bit more flexibility, a bit more grip, he says, when he's not dropping them. Okay, so I'll put those stamps to one side for now. And I can put my... It's not me squeaking, honestly, God blimey. And I can just put those skinny minis away. Again, they're now available on the website. My new website. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take a small brush and some water, and I am going to just add a watered kind of wash over the centres of some of these flowers or swirls, because I'm going to create them like the flowers. And of course you could do, if you wanted to, you could actually paint first and then stamp over the top. And all I'm doing is just lightening up a little bit just by adding a little bit more water to it. So grab that one, put a bit in there, a bit in there, grab some more water, and then just fan it out like so. And then while it's still kind of wettish, I'm going to take some of the darker that we put in the background, and then going to go around the edge, just kind of making it a bit Not exact, because you don't want exact. And if you think you've got too harsh a line, just grab a little bit of water and then just go back in and blend it. And I'm not worried about going over the lines because I will be cutting these out. There we go, just blend that colour, just add a bit more back into the middle. That's it, and then just pick up a little bit on the outside. There we go. It's like a soundtrack, isn't it? It sounds like an old trolley or a gurney going down a corridor. The squeakiness of my chair. Just pick up a little bit of water and then just lighten that back up again. And I don't mind the fact that it's just darkening down the lines a little bit. That's fine. There we go. Just a little bit more darker around the edge there. Bit more water, and of course it will just go that little bit lighter when it dries. There we go. Okay, so I'll just quickly dry those off, then I'll tidy that up. Okay, so the cinnamon swirls are all dry, so I'm going to pop those to one side just for now, and then I'm going to grab the cardstock, the base of our project, and I'm going to get the photograph of our little character, and I've got some matte decoupage glue. This is Deco Mache from, well, it says first edition craft on it, so I believe this is a British company. I could be wrong. Ooh, just take the lid off that, and then of course I need a brush. So I have a nice clean brush, and then I'm going to just add this onto the background like so, and then onto the back of the image, because I don't particularly want this wrinkling too much. And as they say, if you do the back and do the front, then you tend to eliminate the wrinkles, or so they tell us. Right, so let's bring you down here. That'll do. And then we can add another coat over the top. And that theoretically should... just soaked straight in. That's typical. Come on. I shouldn't have done that. Right, let's try again. Out here, we said. So I'm just doing it just a little bit over to the right hand side, leaving me space down this here. There we go, that's better. Make sure we get some underneath. And look, Ma, no wrinkles. To quote a song, this is how we do it. No, I'm not going to carry on singing, you're alright. So again, get this dried off. Okay, so that's dry. And I'm going to bring back that small paintbrush, and this time I've got coral shell. So this is a lighter version of that paint. There we go. So I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to water the paint down just so it's almost watercolory, and I'm going to go over the image just to kind of give it a bit of a tint. And this is where I start to use my fingers too. So the idea is just to gently rub the paint in until it starts to kind of catch. Because we've used the matte medium, it's created a little bit of a barrier for us to be able just to tint the photograph. And then depending on how heavy you go, we can start adding a little bit more darkness in certain areas, a bit more water there. I think we'll go all the way onto a hair. Of course, you can use watercolours, and you can start to feel, just as it starts to catch and soak in and starts to dry a little bit, that's when you can kind of start manoeuvring the paint when it's just that little bit thicker. And then you can just, because you've added that barrier of the matte medium, we can move the paint. It's not perfectly permanent, on your image. So it just kind of create a little bit of a temporary movement. Like I said, you can start to feel when it starts to warm up and just dry off a little bit, and that's when you can start to kind of push the paint where you want it to go. And I do apologise, I am using my middle finger to do this. It's not meant as an insult. Pick up a little bit more on my finger there. So we're kind of tinting the photograph in with the background. A little bit of water. Yeah, that's just at that point now where I can just start to feel it drying a little bit. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier down here, just to kind of mask the edge of the photo, but I'm not too worried about that because I will add some of those flowers down there. Pick up a bit more on the brush. There we go. There we go, so we've got like an aged look and an aged kind of feel to the picture, or at least that's what I was hoping for. Let's grab some tissue. And then we'll just quickly give it a dry, and then we're ready to carry on. There we go, doesn't take long, doesn't take long at all. Okay, so next stage is to start adding in some decoration into the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the white gesso. There we go. And again, I'm going to take a little bit of that coral colour. No, let's go back to that light coral colour that we used for her face. Put a little splodge down there. And then I'm just going to take a paintbrush, grab a little bit of white, just add that down there, and then I need a sponge Now then, what did I do with my little sponges? I've got a drawer with some craft sponges in somewhere. Acrylic sponges. Oh, excuse my head. There we go, that'll do. Acrylic sponge. I'm just going to cut this up. This is like one of those cosmetic sponges you get for doing your makeup, I believe. Not that I'd know. Right, so I'm going to get some of the white, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that coral colour. And let's just start adding in some detail around. So white and a little bit of the coral. And because we can see the image underneath, we can avoid going too far over until you kind of get down to the bottom where you've got the edge of the image. Then you can really pick up the colour if you want and go heavy, just to kind of try and mask the edge of that pattern. So, oh, Mr. Bentley, he's woke up. Hello, Mr. Bentley. Is he going to come in and see me? You going to come and say hello? No. He's decided to go downstairs and have a drink. Pick up a little bit of that white. And then I'm just going to start picking up the rest of it and going over. Bit more. And it can just fade away towards the edge. And the beauty of this stencil is, because it's the same size as the page, if later you want to go back and add some more colour to it, then you can. There we go. So I shall put that to one side for cleaning. Just give that a bit of a wipe up. There we go. And then I'll just give this a few seconds to dry off. Okay, so background is now dry. It's time to cut out these little circles. So this is going to take me just a few minutes. So I will whip through, cut all 6 out, and I'll be back with you lickety split, as they used to say in kids' books when I was young. Okay, so we're all done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some of the darker colour, drop a little bit down on there, and this time I'm going to take the black. So we've lightened up with white, and now we're going to darken with just a touch of black. Now this time I'm going to grab the brush, and I'm going to take the paint, take a little shade, sorry, a little of that black, and you can see how a little goes a real long way. We may just have to add a little bit more of that coral back in, because it's just a tiny bit too dark for what I want. So I'm going to probably end up using a lot of paint. There we go. So it's still in that same colour family, but just darker. So now I can either take the brush and just go around the edges, but that's going to take a while. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of the paint, and I'm going to go around and kind of use the paint to distress the edges. Just like you would do with distress ink. And of course that's going to soak into the paint, soak into the edge of the pages, the paper, dear me, just like it would do if you were going around the edge with your distress ink. And that gets rid of any of those raw white edges that you don't want. And the last one, I mean, what do you want distress ink for when you can do this with paint? Eh? See, you could even just take a little bit of darker if you wanted to. And create a darker edge. See, just the same as if you were doing it with distress ink. Just darken those edges. Cool. Okay, so we've now got our little flowers. So I'll just clean this up. Okay, have another bit of tissue. And now we can start to assemble where our flowers want to go. So I'm just going to give them a bit of a wrinkle. Grab some glue. Actually, we'll use that grab and go glue, but I suppose it will glow, won't it? Just take the top off there. Make sure we've got some towards the bottom. There we go, lovely. And then we can just start to add little clusters. Just give it a bit of a wrinkle. Ooh, I've just dropped a bit. There we go, just wipe that off. So that's why I wasn't too bothered about that bottom part of the picture. So we've got those there, and now what we can do with this is, if you want, you can actually go in and make it smaller. Because it's circles, you don't have to stick to the outside shape. And I've still got a little bit of paint on the on that sponge. There we go, and that just gets rid of those dark edges. So now I can add a little bit of paint up there, and then we can add some there. Do that one there. And then take that smaller one, and I'm going to put that right in the middle. All monotone, so all the same kind of colour family, which is just what we want. Let's get the back glue. There we go. Because everybody knows I'll probably just end up putting my elbow in it. Okay, so we're going to give that a few seconds to dry. And then I'll be back. Okay, so they've had a few minutes to dry now, so I just want to add a few kind of like white details. This is a Posca paint pen. It's only a small one. It's only a 0.9 to 1.3 millimeter one, and I'm only going to be doing a few dabs. So all I want to do is just to add some doodle dots, because it's white. Just around. And then just add a couple kind of in the middle. Just to kind of lift it just a tad. And then we'll do the same thing up here. And if we wanted to, we could just really, really lightly love it. Okay, and then just to finish off, I'm going to take a black pen. This time I'm just going to use an ordinary biro, just an ordinary biro. And I'm just going to grab a bit of scrap paper, just make sure that I'm not going to splodge and it's working. And then what we can do is I can just add a bit of a border around the page. So all we've kind of used one kind of colour family, and black and white. And then just to finish off completely and utterly, I think we'll add some more doodle dots. If I can remember what I did with a pen, there it is. Instead of doing splatters, uncontrolled splatters, this time let's just add some white doodle dots just around the page, just where those joins are, just to kind of lift it a little bit. Here we go. Just kind of lifts it a little bit from the background. And I think that will do. So, let's just grab that pen. And then all I'm going to do, just down here across the bottom, is I'm just going to sign it. And I'm going to date it 2nd of April 2022. And I'm not going to add a slogan, a word, or a legend, or anything. I'm just going to leave it as a nice little bit of a decorative item. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create my art journal page for April's mission inspiration. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. But if you'd like to join us over in our Mission Inspiration Facebook group for the monthly art challenges, on the screen there now is the URL, but there will be a clickable link in the description area below for you to click and go and ask to join. There you go. There's nearly 5,000 people in the group at the moment, so it's quite busy with lots of inspiration and lots of people sharing the projects that they've created using the missions as inspiration. So that's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.